What's up, guys? This is Daniel from Apologetics.com, where science, reason, and Christianity meet. Today I want to talk about a very interesting issue, an issue of social justice and critical theory, especially in this situation within the Catholic Church. Doesn't really come as a surprise to me because I do know that many are involved in the critical theory framework of mind. And this article came to me actually through my Facebook feed today, and I saw it and red flags were popping up all over. And then when I got home, I decided to read the article, and after I read the article, I was like, wow, this is crazy. Now, some of the points made in here are very good. I agree with some of it, but some of this stuff is dangerous material, is very dangerous material. So let's look at this and let's critique this article that I have up here. If you are finding this information valuable that I'm presenting to you, please subscribe below. Please hit the notification bell. That way you get notified anytime I upload a new video. Also, remember that if you are actually watching these things, please try to watch every one of them. Please try to comment. Please try to like the video. These types of actions and interactions and shares that you do on your social media pages actually help boost this channel so more people can see this content. So if you want to see this content spread out, if you want more people to see it, the more times you share it, the more times other people share it, the more times you comment. Those types of things really, really do help. So please feel free to help out. And just those little things, I'm not asking for anything big besides that. And if you can do that, that'd be great. So let's get into this article. Some of the concerns I have with it. Now, this guy, his name was Bishop Mark Seitz or whatever his name is. He's an interesting guy. It sounds like he's trying to do some good. And some of the points he makes are fair. Like, there's some poor people and stuff like that, and we need to help them. Fair enough. And he starts off with a really interesting story. So let's just look at this here. He talks about being at the fence or the border between Mexico and the United States, and he's with this girl trying to help her through, and she's gone through a lot of oppressive situations in her own country. Her family has been murdered, things like that, and he's worried about the United States letting her in. Well, I don't know for sure. I don't know if he commented later because I didn't finish the article quite at the very end, but I did hit a certain location where I want to really focus in on. So I'm not sure what happened in the case of this little girl that he was talking about. He's talking about the elections, the presidential elections, especially in the United States, and he makes some interesting comments promoting the different views. And one of the things that he promotes is a guy named Joseph Biden. As we come along here, let's see here. Where's it at here? He talks about Biden right there. Let's see here. He says, in an aggressively secular and hyper-competitive world, we should be grateful for the public's respect for Pope Francis shown by the Democratic nominee, former Vice President Joseph R. Biden Jr., and the values of working-class ethos that Mr. Biden aims to project. This is really concerning here because he's a Catholic and he's promoting Joe Biden. And this is dangerous stuff because Joe Biden is far from being a Christian in his ideals. He's a liar. He's from the Democratic platform. He's a very concerning guy, very opposed to abolishing abortion. He's opposed to the idea that we should abolish socialistic policies and stuff like that. So we really need to be, a red flag should be shooting up right now because he is promoting this guy, this Catholic guy is promoting Joseph Biden. That's really concerning. He goes on talking about Senator Kamala Harris is his running mate. And he talks about, women at the highest levels of leadership, etc., etc., etc. So then he jumps into talking about Biden, how he does not support abolishing abortion. He's really concerned about that. But then he makes some really, really concerning ideas here. So he's against abortion, which I applaud. I'll applaud right here. He's against abortion. Good job. Whatever your name is here. His name was, again, let's find his name here. Bishop Mark Seitz. Okay, so he's against abortion and he's really, really opposed to it, which I agree with. However, he makes this really, really interesting comment here. Talks about the deepening dogmatism of the Democratic Party on abortion is an escape moral challenge. But then he goes on to say this, but Catholics also need to recognize that we are living in collateral effects of misbegotten decades-long settlement between certain groups of political and religious leaders on the right. Ooh, okay, so the right. For too long, in the pursuit of single-issue strategies to end abortion, many Christians have scandalously turned a blind eye to real breakdowns in solidarity and dehumanizing policies. I'm not sure what solidarity and solidarity and dehumanizing policies. Now, if you want a dehumanizing policy, you're talking about abortion. Like, this is the issue that he should be worried about, which he does mention. But if you want dehumanizing, this is dehumanizing, like the radically most dehumanizing policy at the same level. And I don't use this very often, but it should be used in this situation. It's at a Hitler level. This is a Nazi level issue, abortion. This is how serious it is, guys. Abortion is that bad. It's like Hitler. If someone's promoting abortion, they are at the level of Hitler, literally, because they're promoting the same types of dehumanizing policies that Hitler promoted. Now, this is not some sort of radical take. Go look at any biology book. You know when life begins. It begins at conception. We're killing, we're murdering, we're taking the life, we're dehumanizing unborn human beings and saying it is fine to kill them. This is serious. The most dehumanizing policy today within the United States and the world is abortion, bar none. Bar none. He goes on. He says this, for too long, in pursuit of single-issue strategies to end abortion. Here's the thing. I do not vote single issue. I do not vote single issue. I vote on a number of issues, and I think Christians should vote. And here's some things that you really should think about when you go to the voting booth. Vote to end abortion. That's huge. And make it known to the politicians and make it known hard. We have to end abortion this time around. We have to. This is a Christian duty, okay? So if you are a Christian on the fence saying, should I vote, should I not vote? Vote. And vote to end abortion. Vote policies, not persons. Vote positions, not personality. So many people say, oh, I don't like this person or that person. I don't like his language or this language. I don't care. You're not worried about a person or personality. You're worried about the issues. You're an issue person. You're not aimed at some sort of individual. You're not a X fan or this fan or whatever. It doesn't matter the person. We're focused on the issues to end abortion. That's huge. But I'm not only here to end abortion. I also am against critical theory, and social justice, which this guy actually promotes. I'm against critical theory. Critical theory is dangerous. It's dangerous as dangerous can be. It erodes the Christian Western culture. And this should be really concerning. Fortunately, Trump is trying to abolish it within the government. Good job, Trump. Same with abortion. He promises to abolish abortion. I hope he does, or at least bring it back to the state level, which I hope he does. We have to continue to vote against it. Also with the vote against promotion of sexual immorality. Now, there's a difference between promotion and a libertarian view on these things. Trump holds more of a libertarian view. Okay, I understand that. Like, I think there should be a libertarian view of like Islam in the United States. I do not agree with Islam, and I do not agree with their policies. And I'm hoping, I do not want Islamic policies to be promoted in the United States. That's dangerous. That goes against the Christian worldview, goes against the Constitution. We cannot have some sort of Sharia law here. But if a Muslim wants to come to the United States and do their own thing, freedom of religion, I'm fine with that. Same with some of these sexual immoral things I'm very opposed to, such as same-sex relationships and transgender and stuff like that. But if someone's an adult and they want to do it, I cannot stop them. That's not in my place to actually get in their way. I can preach against it, which I do, and I can preach against Islam and preach for Christianity. But so Trump is more of a libertarian in that sense, not promoting it as the Democratic Party does. I also vote against Marxist policies. I vote against Marxist policies. Marxist policies are pretty much are destroying and continuing to destroy more the black family, the black community. Because of these radical leftists, we're destroying the black community, and that is concerning. Not only is abortion taking out a lot of black people, but but Marxist policies, socialistic policies are taking out black families. And I have a different video where I go into talking about racism, and that's one of the points I talk about, how that socialistic policies pretty much take the place of the father, and the father walks out, and then you have this perpetual generation of this going down this pipeline where it's really hard to get out of a system like this. We have to abolish the Marxist policies within the United States. I'm also for freedom of speech, freedom of worship, and freedom of assembly. This is some a certain political party seems to be very much opposed to these types of things sometimes. I'm for freedom of speech. If you hold to critical theory, freedom of speech goes out the window. If you hold to some of the leftist policies, freedom of speech goes out the window. Here's the thing: a local guy at a college, he was in some sort of leadership position. He posted on his wall and on his door, "All lives matter according to Jesus," or something to that effect. He's pretty much fired. He got kicked out just in the last week or two. Seriously. That's not freedom of speech, nor freedom of worship. He's at a public college. He should not have been let go. Period. This is concerning. And those who continue to promote this type of attitude to let people go are leftist individuals. So no, you cannot vote Democratic. I'm going to make a radical statement here. Jesus would not vote Democratic. Period. Jesus would not vote Democratic. Period. The party platform is anti-biblical through and through, okay? It's anti-biblical on so many levels. I've just given you a few of them. But it's anti-biblical. It doesn't make the Republican Party or any of the other parties perfect. That's not my point. My point is you cannot vote Democrat this year and be an authentic Christian and hold to the party platform. You cannot say, I hold to the Democratic Party platform and be an authentic Christian. It's impossible. There are opposite spectrums. There's two different things, two different animals. Okay? We're talking about two different things. You cannot be a Christian. You cannot be an authentic Christian, that is. You can call yourself Christian. You cannot be an authentic Christian and vote for the Democratic Party platform positions. Period. No, there's really no way around it. You cannot promote abortion and critical theory and all these types of things. We need to get rid of it. This also goes on to say this. Many Christians have scandalously, let's see here, many Christians have scandalously turned a blind eye to real breakdown in solidarity and dehumanizing policies. I don't know what solidarity means. I think I know this before. What does that mean? I don't know. Like, I'm against it? I don't know. Okay, we talked about dehumanizing policies, including the crackdowns on worker rights and voting rights. What's he talking about here? Who does not have worker rights and who does not have voting rights? What are we talking about here? In the United States, there's no one in the United States that does not have the right to vote, who has appropriate, that is, your voting is not dependent upon your race or even your sex. Period. The only people who cannot vote are people who are not citizens of the United States and people who are too young, and people who are maybe felons. And maybe there's a few others I missed, but those are the big categories. There's no voter rights thing here. And worker rights? What are we talking about worker rights? Like, we live in one of the easiest working environment in the world. I mean, I'm not sure what we're talking about here, unless we're talking about worker rights in the sense that if you worked at a leftist institution, you'll get fired. Then yes, I agree with him. That is concerning. The slashing of social support for the poor and sick. Slashing of social support for poor and sick. What does he mean by this here? Socialistic policies? Those things are not scriptural. You cannot do two wrongs. Two wrongs do not make it right. The one wrong is that we have sick and the poor. We understand that. As Christians, the church is supposed to help the sick and the poor. The church is supposed to help the sick and the poor. Let me repeat that. This church is supposed to help the sick and poor. It's not the government's duty to help the sick and the poor. It's our duty. It's the community's duty. We should come out with free will and help the sick and the poor. It's not the government. The whole idea of social justice, which he's promoting here, is antithetical to Christianity. Social justice on so many levels is different than biblical justice. Biblical justice actually supports people to actually be just in the decisions they make to people. Social justice promotes a certain person over another person. Biblical justice does not do that. Biblical justice does not take from one person, does not steal from one person to give to another person, and at the same time as lining the pockets of the person or the persons who stole from the one person, which happens today in our society. it is not a biblical framework. You cannot call that biblical justice. Social justice, sure, but social justice is not biblical justice. Two totally different animals, again. Okay, the church is supposed to come alongside and help the sick and the poor, the orphans, the widows, the widowers. We're supposed to be there for those people. Racism. The next one here. Racism. Wow. Okay. Here's the thing with racism. It's kind of like love. You cannot force people to love other people. You can force people not to steal. You can force people not to kill. You can force people not to hit people with sticks. Fair enough. You can enforce that type of stuff. If someone does it, they can get in trouble. But you can't enforce someone to love someone. Same with racism. You cannot force someone to not be racist. Now, you can force someone not to enact racist ideas in their life. You can force them not to hire based on race. You can force them not to treat someone racist as a racist person, sure. But you cannot fix racism. That's a heart issue. Anybody who says something different does not know what heart issues are. And the versus an issue that you actually can legislate. So you cannot legislate things like racism and love, but you can regulate things like you should not murder, you should not steal, and you should not discriminate in a work environment based upon race. Okay, so that's two totally different things here. One's a heart issue, one's an actual doing issue, a behavior issue. The next one, the exploitation of immigrants. I'm not 100% sure what he's talking about here. I think he's referring back to his story above, where immigrants are now allowed into the United States or something, which we do have we do have policies to allow people in at a certain level. That we do encourage people to come in who are actually in dire need, in the sense that maybe their country is trying to kill them. Fair enough. Those types of people get to stay them here. Fine. Which maybe what happened at the beginning of the story. I'm not 100% sure what happened to the story, if the border guards allowed the person in or not. I don't know. The last item, and again, with you go by with the laws to say it too. Now, the laws could be unjust, fair enough, but it doesn't make sense to me that the laws are unjust if someone does not allow someone to come into a country. All countries, all through history, have not allowed just anyone to roam through their nation. They usually have some sort of gatekeeping thing. Even the Bible. Why did the people of Jerusalem build the gates? To allow certain people in and certain people out. They only want certain people in, and that was a biblical thing. They did that. Totally fine. You can have gates to your city or your country or whatever. And lastly, which is really, really interesting, was the environment. And the environment. So this was one of the issues that Christians don't worry about the environment. Okay, first off, Christians are concerned about the environment, especially biblical Christians. We have a duty to take care of the environment properly. However, that's different than radical environmentalism, where we save the earth, where we can't drill for oil, we can't drill for minerals and stuff like that, or dig for minerals. Those are two different things here. So again, I'm not sure where environment comes in. Why do you throw environment in there? Now, he goes on and talks about other things here, but that's where I really want, and I'm not sure exactly what he ends up with, but those things that he talks about, this section right here, is really concerning to me. That is where I really want to jump in on, because I don't know for sure what he's talking about. Some things it sounds like he's promoting social justice and socialism, and some things are just like, what are you talking about here? Does not make sense. All right, so this is the end. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Hopefully it brought value. If you want to go find this article yourself, just type this article in. You can read it all yourself. I didn't have time to go through the whole thing, but it's called Bishop Seitz, Single Issue Voting Has Corrupted Christian Political Witness. Okay, so you can just type that in. It's at AmericanMagazine.org. It must be a Catholic magazine or something like that. I don't really read the magazine very often, I guess. But whatever, it doesn't matter. So feel free to check out the video. Feel free to check out this article. We'll link it down below as well. Also, I'll link to my website and my other social media platforms. Please, again, please like and subscribe to this channel. I really need you on board here, and to share this on your social media platforms. Facebook, Twitter, if you're on MeWe, if you're in Parler, if you're on USA Life, feel free to share this, or any other social media platform you're on. Share it on all your pages, all your groups. I would love for you to help promote this channel, because we really need more people to see this material. With that, I want to encourage you with my usual end. Go out, give your world Christ.